hope you're all doing so well, and I hope you're enjoying excelling as a woman so far. I hope that God has been working in your heart and teaching you some things through us. And today I'm going to speak on the fear of the Lord. So before I start, I hope you all remember me. My name is Heather. I spoke previously, so I'm not going to waste time with introductions or anything about myself. But what a privilege to speak to you on the fear of the Lord today. So I want to start off by asking you a question. What are you afraid of? What keeps you up at night? What makes your heart beat and makes you want to run away? Are you afraid of the safety of your kids? Maybe you're afraid that your kids will get sick, or are you afraid of corona? Are you maybe afraid of the negative balance in your bank account? Maybe you're just afraid of spiders. Maybe you're afraid of the safety of your friends and family. Maybe you're afraid for your own safety. And I want to say, friends, that the fear of the Lord is a completely different type of fear. The fear of the Lord does not keep you up at night. It doesn't make your heart beat and make you want to run away. In fact, friends, this type of fear is the type of fear that makes you want to run towards God. And it's the type of fear that helps you to sleep well at night. And we see this concept all over the Bible. If you just take your Bible, I don't know what app you use on your phone, or if you Google it, Google the words fear of the Lord in the Bible, and you'll see how many verses come up. I think it's just all over the Bible, and we see that it's an attribute to be desired. So we see in Proverbs 10 verse 27 that the fear of the Lord will prolong your life. Isn't that crazy? We see that in Psalms 111 verse 10 it says that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And we all know that we need a little bit of wisdom in our lives. Whether you're a mom, whether you're in the business place, we all need wisdom. Proverbs 31 verse 30 says that a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. And so we all need to seek this fear of the Lord. It's an attribute to be desired, friends. We should all be searching for it. So what is it? As I said before, it's an obedience that comes from knowing who God is. So I want us to take a pause here. Pause the video if you need to, but just think about who is God? Who do you think God is? Who is God to you? Make a picture of him in your head. Who is God, friends? So before we can understand the fear of the Lord, we need to understand a couple of aspects of who God is. And I want to encourage you ladies, A.W. Tozer and A.W. Pink, they both write a book on the attributes of God, and they're absolutely mind-blowing. What amazing people they were to have written such books. But so I want to encourage you to go and read those books. But I'm just going to highlight a few of these aspects of God and a few of these attributes. And we'll see that God is a God to be revered above all else. And we'll realize that God is a God to be feared. So the 4 attributes I'm going to look at today is his power. So God is all powerful. His holiness. The fact that he's all knowing, that he knows everything. And the fact that he is a loving God. So the first one, he's powerful. So the fancy theological word for it is omnipotent. I just like words. So that word for me was just interesting. Which means he has absolute power. He has power to do anything. He has power to calm the storm. Wait, he created the storm. From the words that came from his mouth, he created the world. He created the universe. Job 38 says that God laid the cornerstones and the foundations of the earth. He determined the measurements of everything in the world. So He knows the shape of every continent, the height of every mountain, the shape and the size of every small leaf. He determined it. Every small ant, he said, you're going to be that size. Even your size, ladies, he determined that. And he is powerful. He tells, I don't know if you've sat by the ocean one day, and I'm pretty afraid of the ocean. I mean, I think the ocean is quite powerful and scary. And here in Job 38 it says that God tells the sea where to stop. He is in control of the ocean, of the waves. He also says here in Job 38 that he commanded every morning since your days began. So friends, he did not just create things before the beginning of time. He is constantly upholding things of the world. In Hebrews 1 verse 3 it says he sustains all things by his powerful word. So if God were to remove his hand of power from the world, everything would just wither and die. The grass would wither. We wouldn't have breath in our lungs. So everything is upheld by his power and by his powerful word, friends. Psalm 18 says that with a blast from his nostrils, so just breathing out of his nose, he can scatter enemies with great bolts of lightning and expose the valleys of the seas. Friends, the God we serve is a powerful God. Nothing is impossible for him. He is not unable to do anything. He will do as he pleases, as it says in Isaiah. Isn't that amazing? We serve an incredible God. So the second attribute that I want to discuss is the fact that he is holy. Because Revelations 15 verse 4 says, "Who will not fear you, Lord, and bring glory to your name? For you alone are holy." So we can fear God and bring glory to his name because he is holy. So what does it mean when we say God is holy? It means that he is absolute purity. He is without blemish, friends. 1 John 1 verse 5 says, "God is light, and in him is no darkness at all." He is perfection, friends. He is good. You know, I often think that we overuse that word good, because God is the only thing that's good. He is the very definition of good. Without him, nothing can be good. We even see that when God talks to Moses in Exodus 33 on Mount Sinai, he says to Moses, "No one may see my face and live." So the separation between our sinfulness and God's holiness is so vast that if we see his face, we will just die. Isn't that amazing? One day, I think that one day in heaven, when we see and grasp the holiness of God, and we realize how much we fall short of God's holiness, we also will realize the incredible reality of the grace that he's given us, and we'll lie on our faces and cry, "Holy, holy, holy are you, Lord." We serve a holy God, friends. I don't think we'll ever understand how holy he really is. The third aspect I want to discuss is the fact that he is all-knowing. So he knows everything. Again, the theological word for this is omniscience. He knows the past, he knows the present, he knows the future. Friends, he had 2020 vision before the millennia, before 2020 was even here. I love those 2020 jokes, sorry guys. He knows, so he knows the past, he knows the present, he knows the future. He knows what's in the deepest parts of the ocean where no human can ever go. Psalm 147 says that he knows each star by name. Psalm 139 says he knows every detail of your thought life. He knows every hair on your head, every freckle on your face, and every word that comes out of your mouth before it even passes your lips. Psalm 139 verse 16 says that he ordains all our days before they even came to be. Friend, he knows your past, he knows your present, he knows your future. And the last aspect I want to speak about is the fact that he loves us. So he knows you and he loves you. I think that's just incredible. So Psalm 139 verse 13 said, "For you created my inmost being, you knit me together in my mother's womb." Doesn't that speak of a fatherly love, ladies? He doesn't just love us as an earthly type of love. He loves us with an unconditional love. Even in our sinful ways, friends, he loves us. He loves you unconditionally. No matter if you do badly, if you do well, he loves you. Romans 8 verse 31 says, "If God is for us, who can be against us?" Romans 8 verse 38 to 39 says that nothing, absolutely nothing, can separate us from the love of God. Psalm 36 verse 7 says, "How precious is your steadfast love, O God." How's that? Steadfast love. Steadfast is something that never changes. It remains the same. It is steadfast. "The children of mankind take refuge in the shadow of your wings." Daughter of God, I want to say, he loves you and he's for you. So let's pause here. Let's think about now, who do you think God is? And consider for a moment who he is, who he wants you to be, and where he wants your life to lead. He is powerful beyond measure. He is holy and good. He knows the future better than anyone, better than yourself. And he loves you. He loves us. I can think of no one better that I would want to decide my future, to dedicate my life towards, than this powerful, all-knowing, all-holy, and loving God and Father. See, friends, as Warren Wiersbe says, "The fear of our God is not the servile dread of a slave towards a master, but the loving respect of a child towards a parent. To fear the Lord means to seek to glorify God in everything we do. It means listening to his word, honoring it, and obeying it." Wow. We are allowed, we may seek God in everything, to glorify God in everything that we do. So I want to consider here the word Lord. So when we speak about the fear of the Lord, I don't want to neglect that word Lord. And I think it's different to when we just say fear of God. Because if God is just our God, then he's just a deity. He's just out there. But when God is our Lord, we have submitted our lives to him. We've made him Lord of our lives, and we've dedicated our lives to him. It means that we have allowed him to lead and govern our lives. See, friends, when we consider how powerful, how all-knowing, how holy, and how loving God is, isn't it easy and isn't it a joy to submit our lives to him? So I want to share a personal story with you now. I think it's been such a journey for me in learning how to hear God's voice. And I think when I was newly saved, I always heard people say that I feel God is telling me to do this, and I didn't really understand it. I kept thinking, I also want to hear God. I also want to be able to obey him like that. And so I went on this journey to learn to hear God's voice, and it was going really well. It started with small things, and I started to learn, how God tugs on our heartstrings or turns our heart toward things. And it was going really well until I felt like God was telling me to break up with my boyfriend at the time. And I was taken aback. I was like, no, God, this guy is outdoorsy, he's fun, he's everything I've ever wanted in a guy. And but God kept tugging on my heartstrings, and I spoke to a few people around me that I trusted, and I just realized that I had gone through this journey of knowing God, and he hadn't, and he wasn't saved. And I realized that God was right. And So I obeyed God, and years later, looking back, I can truly say that God was right and I was wrong. So 2 years or a couple of years later, can't remember how many years, Nathan came along, and for those of you that don't know, he's my husband at the moment, or now, and he was this, he asked me on a date. So he was, and I was like, I wasn't really feeling this. He was a little bit nerdy, he was a little bit too indoorsy for my liking. He knows this, so I would tell this to him too. And so I friend zoned him, and as I did that, I felt this conviction. I felt like God was saying, he'll be good for you. And I was like, no, God, he's way too nerdy, he's way too indoorsy, he's a little weird, you know. And God just kept tugging at my heartstrings, and I kept having this feeling like he'd be good for me, but I didn't want to listen. And so I spoke to a few friends around me, people in my community, and they just kept saying that he'll be so great for you, you know, he's such a great guy, he loves God, he's got a great character. And yeah, so I can say that I started dating a guy who I probably had no romantic feelings for at the time, and if you ask him, he'll tell you the same. We both just went into the relationship with a feeling that God has got something here. And I can truly testify to this day, friends, after 5 years of marriage, God was right and I was wrong. He knows me better than I know myself. He knows my innermost being. He knows my thoughts, he knows my present, he knows my past, and he knows my future. And he wanted the best for me. He knew that our personality traits would work together, even though we're quite opposite. And I'm so grateful that I obeyed God in that moment. See, friends, as I went on in my life, now it's a joy for me to be able to obey God, and as best as I can hear him. But in every decision we make, we can seek to obey him and seek to fear him in all that we do. Through community, through his prayer, through his word, and through prayer. We're given such an opportunity to fear God, to have joy in listening and obeying his word. Whether you're a mom, whether you're a single lady, whether you're in the workplace, friends, we have such an opportunity to obey God in every aspect of our lives. So I want to end off with an image that John Piper wrote when he was writing on the fear of the Lord. And he writes this: imagine you're climbing in the mountains, say the Himalayas. You're on these massive rock faces and you see a terrifying storm coming. You feel incredibly vulnerable and afraid on these mountain precipices. So you're looking for a cave to hide where you won't be blown off the side of the cliff to destruction. You find a small cave on the side of the mountain and dash inside. Suddenly, the holiness, justice, power, wrath, and judgment of God breaks over you like a hurricane. But you're totally safe, which means that all that horrible danger is transposed into the music of majesty, and you can enjoy it rather than fearing it. And I think this is what the cross is, that Jesus died for us to provide a place where we could enjoy the majesty of God with a kind of fear and trembling and reverence and awe, but not a cowering fear. See, friends, the way I see it, we're given an incredible opportunity as women of God to glorify God and to find joy in obeying him. That in every aspect of our lives, whether you're a mom, whether it's in your business place, whether you're a businesswoman, we can glorify God in these aspects. And I think it's just amazing that when we fear God, we fear nothing else. and we're able to sleep well at night. So whether you're a mom, I want to encourage you to find joy in obeying Him in every aspect of your motherhood. If you're a businesswoman, find joy in obeying Him, in listening to Him in your workplace, in every aspect of your life. As a wife, enjoy obeying Him and seek to glorify Him in everything that we do. Seek to grow in knowledge of Him, friends. Know more of who He is and who He wants you to be. See, friends, we have the opportunity to glorify God in every aspect of your life. If you're a grandmother, if you're a daughter, seek to obey God in those aspects. I've added the song Indescribable, just because I think it describes God in such a way that leaves us in awe and wonder and reverence for who He is. So listen to it and enjoy God. Enjoy being in reverence of Him, in being in wonder of Him. Thank you, ladies. Thank you for listening. We love you, and we hope to see you on Monday at our Zoom call.